Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for this day, and we thank you for all your blessings, Lord. We thank you for the rain, Lord. We just ask that you just be with us tonight, Lord, as we go and see the business. Lord, just grant us wisdom and discernment, Lord. Father, we just thank you for all that you've given us. Forgive us where we failed. For in Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Janine, are there any public comments?
No, sir.
Mitch, are there any new employees?
Not here.
Do we have new employees?
Not right.
Considering approved minutes from the August 9th meeting, if there are no additions or corrections, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from the August 9th meeting.
Second. Motion's been made by Kenny, seconded by Eric. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve the monthly departmental reports. If you have a question, please identify on the page.
I have a question. On the police department stuff, we're missing about 5 reports that we normally get.
With all those call volumes.
Yeah, the arrest report, calls for service, citation reports, incident reports, and overtime reports.
Yes, sir, we are. The reason being is Sue got busy and she got tied up and she didn't pull the reports and I didn't catch it. That's my bad. Val usually catches it, but she's been out on extended medical leave. It's my bad.
Give those reports mentioned, just email them. Wanted to make note of, wanted to just speak to the code officers. They're really getting out and getting busy with lots of NOVs and citations going out, and dogs, lots of animal control stuff going on. So Lance, tell them we're proud of what they're doing. I got a notice of violation, so they're doing their job.
We don't pull those.
Also want to make note of the water booster. Water was big last month, so continue to watch that and give kind of some priority to this big water project we're talking about.
On the same topic of the water, I noticed, like last month we pumped quite a few, like 55 million gallons. It just seems like it keeps going up and stuff like that, But I also know we had a couple wells out too, so.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. It's dropped off quite a bit.
Yeah.
We do have our samples back from the new wells, and we're just a little bit of wiring from having them automatic up and running.
So when's that going to be done? It's been going on for a year.
It's the wiring
They're wiring it right now.
for the SCADA to get automatic.
In the ditch and get the wire out.
Now, they're both on now.
What are the pictures of the lift station on 31?
Yeah, those are some pictures we just threw in there from, we had Riley's come out and vacuum out some of our, we had a big problem with main over on Delano, and this just gives you a little idea of what utilities deal with in these lift stations. Anyway, we hadn't had them suck the garbage out of wastewater lift stations and all. How many we do? We do
3 of them.
Barton, Laguna.
Barton, Laguna, Sunset.
Yeah, Sunset. And along with that major deal we worked on Delano, our sewer main over there, a lot of sludge built up there from some debris. Big 2 or 4 was stuck in that line probably for, I don't know how many years. Anyway, they got it free flowing again, so that
draw y'all's attention, page 42 also with sales tax, we're just continue to set records every month. So pretty impressive and hope that will continue to grow. Any other questions on departmental reports? If none, can we get a motion to approve the departmental reports?
I make a motion that we approve the department reports.
Second.
Motion's been made by Buddy, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve July expenses. If you have a question, please identify the page.
I just noticed on page 54, me kind of look back to the water, looks like we, correct me if I'm wrong, but like we put in a new pump a sub for well under 20, is that correct? And one for number 1, is that correct?
Yes, we've been going to submersibles on all of them that we can on
And I
that.
think that's a wise thing to do because over probably since, December, just well number 20 alone. Prior to that, we spent quite a bit of money, about $46,000 on repairs and things and stuff like that. I mean, that's, again, that's one of the things that we've talked
Yeah.
about, you know, with me. And I know that, you know, I just don't want to sound like a broken record or anything like that, but, you know, we've got five turbines up there right now in the, you know, well field. And, you know, we're gonna, that's probably, instead of sitting here putting money in repairing some of these, but they're already sucking air, and something that we're probably just going to just need to replace with subs.
Yeah, that's every time we have every time we have a big problem with the turbine, it's been actually less expensive to go backwards than forward.
So Kenny, you had remembered we put a new turbine in 20, back this 6 months ago?
Now, this one here's they put a new sub in there.
Right, in this
Right.
month. But you said,
They've done some repairs on that in the past 6 months, I mean, you know, since December before, prior to putting in
so why do we have to go to a sub, Terry, on that? The cheaper? What was wrong with the turbine that, it's been?
See, we had we had a turbine in, that we put in, which one? That was we put a sub with a turbine in one of them, and then we went back and had another problem with another turbine, so we switched.
Yeah, the one
Subs.
number 20 was too big, so we put that one at
Yeah.
17, we got another one at
Because
20.
it fit better, and
Yeah,
so now we've got, with the 2 new wells and we got 4 subs, submersibles, and 6 turbines, out of all total 10.
Yeah, because I think, well, number 18, was it last month or this month, it had a broken shaft and it's a turbine. But, you know, talking with Jim and stuff on there, it's just, you know, just the cost, the maintenance and repair on those turbines, if they're not really that efficient and they're already adjusted as far as they can, as far as pumping efficiency, it's just not worth, you know, doing that kind of, spending that kind of money on. It's just better to go back and put a sub in there, in my opinion.
Good sense.
Any other questions on the expenses?
On page 49, Wright's 2018 Chevy Crew Cab 4x4, what department's getting that pickup back here?
That was a code enforcement.
That one is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
You see that?
budgeted.
Funded by page 49.
It was budgeted in this budget year.
It was?
Yes.
Any other questions? Not, can we get a motion to approve the expenses?
Make a motion to approve the July expenses.
I'll second.
A motion's been made by Kenny, seconded by Eric, that we approve the July expenses. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve an interlocal agreement for application for the development of the CDBG grant.
This is basically our meat and potatoes grant that we apply for federal pass-through tax dollars that we can hopefully get back in our local pockets. But the last application we made was not successful. We applied for some lift station improvements. We'll be revisiting it, still early in the game, but everybody uses this bag to write their grants. In this case, don't have a whole lot of information on it yet, other than the administration is $35,000 for the maximum $500,000, which has been raised over the years. $250,000, $500,000 now, so I recommend approval of this.
Any questions on interlocal agreement? If not, can we get a motion to approve this interlocal agreement?
I make a motion we accept this interlocal agreement.
Second.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Buddy, that we approve this interlocal agreement. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve a resolution by the City of Littlefield denying Southwestern Public Service Company's proposed increase in rates.
Yes, this is a strategical thing that the cities are doing. We have some rate-making authority, and we have a hired gun that all the cities use, and Littlefield is one of the Axum AXM cities, and they recommend that we approve this resolution denying the rate case, so then it goes to the PUC, and it gets regulated by the PUC for utility. So I'd recommend that we do like all those cities and deny this rate case for Southwestern Public Service.
Any questions on this rate case? Standard comes up every year. They try to get a big increase. Everybody denies it, and then we settle, and they get their raises.
Seems like they already did that.
Well, I'm telling you, no, they, like all other utilities, it's 100%.
A motion to approve the resolution denying the rate case, or denying the increase in rate.
I make a motion we accept the resolution denying the rate increase for exit.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Kenny. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve a resolution of the City Council of Littlefield approving a negotiated settlement between Axum and Atmos Energy. So this is the same as Mitch.
This is with the gas company, the gas company from electricity gas. And about the bottom line on this thing is, years ago, we approved the rate, RRM, it's an acronym for rate review mechanism. And the attorneys, Jeffrey Gay used to be with Thomas Department, and they review all the reasons why they're asking for a rate increase. It's the best mechanism out there, and they negotiate it back and forth. And then this one is about $3.36 per residence is the increase that Atmos is going for. And I'd recommend that we approve this resolution.
You have any questions about the Axiom case? If not, can we get a motion to approve the resolution adopting the settlement?
I make a motion, we approve the negotiated settlement between Axiom and Atmos.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Buddy. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve an ordinance amending the Littlefield Code of Ordinances, section 13.03.06 and 13.03.007, by replacing these sections regarding the rates to be charged for collection and disposal of garbage in the city and rates at the landfill. Mitch?
I don't know why. This one page is in there, 95. Anyway, I've got an ordinance in there with a red line version on page 96, and that increases as directed, increases our rate from 27.02 to 30.02 for residential pickup, and also it increases the commercial pickup. You can see the old charges and the new charges, $2 on commercial and $2 for the extra pickups. You can kind of compare on page 97, bottom of 96 and 97. Also, it increases the fee at the landfill from $35 to $39 on page 98 there, about 3/4 of the way down. And those red marks are the changes, and then the clean ones that go there on page 100.
We talked last time about the tipping fees at landfill. Did we ever find out if we're under contract with him?
Yes, if that's contract expires at the end of end of 2024, it's $30. And Amherst is one of our major users out of the landfill, and it probably a little under $2,000 for the year is what Amherst pays us. Difference there in what they between what it is now and what the $39. So $4 a ton difference adds up to about $2,000.
They only pay 30 a ton, you said.
And that was passed back in 19, it was changed by minute order from council meeting, and then it expires in 24.
So when they come up with their interlocal agreement here in a couple of years, will we have the opportunity to negotiate that down and being that they are a contracted user?
Yeah.
So we'll have the opportunity to give them a rate because they
Well, and
we want.
this is not a big money maker for us, the tipping fee, but we don't want to be lower than everybody because we end up being a dumping ground for the region.
Right, but we have a neighbor that uses it, and they're on a budget too, so we have to keep that in mind. Is that everything we talked about? Questions, changes? So roughly a $3 fee to a garbage user. If there's no questions or discussions, can we get a motion to approve this ordinance amending the disposal and garbage rates?
I make a motion, we approve amending the ordinance of garbage rates for the city of Littlefield.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? None, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve a submission of a ballot for Elena Quintanilla as a qualified person for the election of the Board of Trustees for Region 3 TML Health Benefits Pool.
At the last meeting, we nominated her, and this is the actual ballot vote for her. She would be a good representative for us on the TML Board of Trustees for Health Insurance.
Give a motion to approve the submission of that ballot.
Make a motion to approve submission of ballot for Elena Quintanilla for the election board, Region 3, TML Health Board benefits.
Second.
Motion's been made by Kenny, seconded by Michael, that we approve the submission of that ballot. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We're going to skip the budget stuff for this period. We're going to go to 18, executive session regarding annual city manager evaluation under Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel matters. City council, city manager.
Attorney will join us.
It is 7:08. We have returned from executive session where no action was taken. Number 9, consider any action regarding the annual city manager evaluation. There's no action. Your copy of your annual review will be placed in the file. Brian, thanks for coming tonight. Next, we'll go back to 14, a work session for our preliminary budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. Mitch?
Mayor, I've got a printout there in a separate binder. Hopefully I've addressed all of the issues that have been discussed during our work sessions. We've got a memo there on page 4 of that second handout. I don't think there's anything else that I can think of that we need to discuss, but if y'all have any questions, ask away. Something I might point out though, on page 6, let's see, 7, one of the rules in the public hearings on budgets is you have to put in the paper that you're if your budget is going to raise your taxes or not. So this proposed budget raises no taxes. And that'll be a discussion after we get through talking about the budget. But it makes no sense the way the state law makes you do that. It's in there on page 7. It just states that this proposed budget does not include a tax increase in revenue. And then on page 8, you see the tax rates over the years. In the last 3 years, we've reduced tax rate each year. and just kept the revenue the same, and no new revenue rate adopted.
Any other questions, comments, changes? Y'all ready to move forward and pass the budget, or do we need another work session? If there's no further comments about this, now we'll have a public hearing regarding approving the budget for the fiscal year 2022, 2023. This, do we have to talk about tax rate before we start talking about budgets and numbers?
You could take it out of order. I don't think it matters which order you take it in. You cannot approve a tax rate until after you take a record vote to propose a tax rate. So item 17 is to take a record vote to propose a tax rate. And you could do that after your budget discussion.
Let's go ahead and do that. We'll 17, consider and approve plans to propose a no new revenue tax rate or approve plans to increase tax revenue and set a public hearing and adoption of that.
And we don't, like I said, we're not including any extra revenue from any revenue increase, which results in about a 6 cent reduction in the rate. And really want to get into the tax issue stuff, there's two basic rates we talked about, the new revenue rate and then there's the voter approval rate. And the voter approval rate is like 3.5% increase in revenue. So the no new revenue rate is 62.5 cents, 6255.625 dollars per 100 valuation. And then the voter approval rate is 0.6480. I'm looking at page 110. And the voter approval rate is 0.6480. Now, because we didn't take the the voter approval rate last year or the year before, we can claw back and use those additional increments. And the voter approval rate can be raised. Some cities are doing up to the voter approval rate. Just kind of general numbers, you're looking at a little under $20,000 per cent, per penny of taxes for our valuation of 197 million is our valuation. And, for counties and school districts, that's a big deal, a penny, because they've got a huge valuation as compared to our valuation within the city limits. So I don't know how much of this you're going to hear, but the chief appraiser said if we wanted to, she could go back and change the approval rate for voter approval rate up. And I would say it would be right under 70 cents. It'd be 69.81 cents. But that would bring in, I estimate, probably about 140,000.
Are you concerned at all with us continuing to adopt the no new revenue rate? I mean, we're losing another 6 cents.
That's a good point. We can still claw these back without going to a voter approval rate. And
For 3 years.
for 3 years, because that bottom one from 2020 doesn't go off this year. But if we don't use it next year, 2020 could drop off. So basically, you could fall back 3 years with the rules according to Lisa.
The concern is, which we've been on an increase in the state, obviously the appraisal district's going to keep increasing, but at some point, if it ever goes down, we're going to end up with this incredibly low tax rate that we can't get back up fast enough.
There are people that have done that, and frankly, I just don't see it. I just don't see a downside to having a low tax rate. You know?
I hate taxes.
I know we're giving up community wealth to the school district and the county.
The county continues to adopt the same tax rate. They're having a tax increase every year.
They take in more revenue, they do take a lot more revenue. Actually. But like, City of Littlefield is like most small communities, the tax evaluation does not generate that much revenue.
Just so we're clear, there's $124,000 of potential revenue if we adopted the same rate that's coming off, which that would be a tax increase of 6 cents basically. So the concern of what we need to decide is, I hate taxes and don't want more taxes, and with the school bond, it's already going to be pretty big, but the city is by far the lowest tax rate of us all and our neighbors. My only concern is if we keep adopting the no new revenue rate and our appraisals keep jumping as high as they are, we're going to end up with a really low tax rate, which looks good.
Well, I know a lot of cities that, man, they fight hard to get that tax rate down as low as they can. I think Plainview at one time got to where their tax rate was almost nothing, from half-cent sales tax adoption to offset, just all kinds of different things to get that tax rate down. And it's something to brag about, when you're talking to industry about moving to your town, it's one of the questions they're going to ask is taxes. And what I hear is people complain about taxes in a lot of different places. So that's something that, to me, is never outweighed the benefit. I don't know.
Well, it's something we may have to address in the future with labor rates going up like they are, but at this point, it's because no one's in favor of increasing tax rates. So we will I make a motion to approve a plan to propose a no new revenue tax rate. Is that correct? And we don't have to have a public hearing because of that, correct?
Don't believe we do, it goes to, you put it in there just because you need to take a record vote.
So I make a motion to propose a no new revenue tax rate, set a public hearing and adoption for September 27th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made by Eric, seconded by Michael. Any other discussions or questions? If none, all in favor of proposing the no new revenue tax rate, please raise your right hand. All opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously.
That good enough, Janine?
Yes, sir.
All right, so tax rate's done. Back to 15. Public hearing regarding adopting the approved budget for fiscal year 22-23. This budget will raise no new revenue from property taxes other than last year's tax budget. We'll now close this regular city council meeting and open the public hearing. If you have a comment, please approach the IC, give your name and address for the record. You have 2 minutes to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak? If none, I will close this public hearing and reopen the regular city council meeting. This time we'll consider and approve an ordinance approving the budget and 5-year capital improvement plan for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022. Motion to approve that budget unless there's any further questions or comments.
I make a motion, we approve the budget for the fiscal year 2022, 2023. I'll second.
Motion been made by Michael, seconded by Eric Sines. Any further questions, discussion? None, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.